But, switching from cardiovascular to something a lot of people don't associate with this idea of the nervous system and the idea of actually keeping a cool head and trying to trigger more parasympathetic system. Because a lot of people, when you're under constant stress, like we are, your fear, you have so much going on and the stress levels are up. You get yourself in a sympathetic state, which I know when, I'm sympathetic, I'm a sweater. My body temperature goes up. If I'm like in a state like now, like where it's like pressure or something like that, and it's hot, it's just going to flare up in me in a sense. But the idea of breathing and keeping a cool head, of doing certain techniques to be parasympathetic. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so one of the easiest, fastest, and most accessible ways to access the parasympathetic nervous system in the moment is your exhale. So when you're breathing, your inhalation has two modes. So the inhalation is a slightly more sympathetic state, and the exhalation is a more parasympathetic. So that's when we do a heart rate variability, we're looking to see it at how does that variation change of the sympathetic and the parasympathetic as you're breathing and exhaling with your heart. So one way to stimulate that parasympathetic more than the sympathetic is to take long exhales, and exhales should always be twice as long as inhales. And sometimes when we're stressed, we know we feel it, we just focus on the inhale and we don't even think about the exhale. We're just like, everything's tight. We're just thinking about inhale. Whereas the opposite needs to happen when we want to go into parasympathetic. We need to slowly breathe out and have that be at a minimum twice as long as the exhale. So let's say you inhale for a count of 2, you want to exhale for at least a count of 4, so that you're predominantly triggering more the parasympathetic response than the sympathetic. And you're right, heat being in that environment and excessive heat is going to trigger more of that kind of nervous sympathetic response, which we don't want, which we have too much of in our society anyway. So remembering to breathe, remembering to drink our water, remembering to relax, remembering that it's not going to last forever. It's only, things change, seasons change. To take long, deep exhales, I think is a good reminder for everybody.